Everybody. Okay, well, welcome everybody. So excited that you guys could join us today. Thanks everybody for showing up around the state. I'm glad to be joined here by a bunch of fellow Oklahomans. And want to also recognize Pro Tem Greg Treat for being here. Thank you so much. And Speaker McCall, thank you for your leadership. And so many other state and community leaders around our state. It was really important, and it took kind of a team effort to get this across the finish line. This has been in the making for years now, and I'm proud of the bipartisan support that made this possible. Sometimes bipartisan support doesn't happen every single day, as you might imagine. But every single Republican, except for one, voted for this bill. And every single Democrat, except for one person, voted for this bill in the Senate as well. So I want to thank House Minority Leader Cindy Munson for being here. Thank you so much, Leader. And Senate Majority Leader Kay Floyd for Senate. Sorry, did I say? This is the Majority Leader, okay? Senate Minority Leader and Senate Minority-elect Julie Kurt is here. So thank you so much for being here. Oklahoma joined just 12 other states that actually taxed groceries. So there were 13 states that taxed groceries. And to us, in leadership, the grocery tax was one of the most regressive taxes that we had. It affected people on the lower income bracket much more than people that made a lot of money. And so this was a bipartisan support. I think it had a lot of support all across the state. But because we have experienced high inflation, which means prices were higher and things were costing more at the grocery store for every single Oklahoma family. Oklahomans, they want to earn a living. They want to take care of their families. They want government to be limited and just kind of get government out of their lives. And on the campaign trail, when I was out in southern Oklahoma and in the speaker's area, a lot of people would tell me that they would just drive across the state line and they would buy their groceries down in Texas because Texas didn't have a grocery tax. Their taxes were zero there. And so I thought, man, that's kind of weird as you're running and you're understanding all the policies that make people do certain things. And so since 2019, I've been talking about eliminating this grocery tax to bring people back home here. So I get to deliver on that promise today by signing the largest single year tax cut in Oklahoma history. So it's just amazing. And I want to thank the leaders in the House, the Senate. By cutting the state's portion of the grocery tax, we're going to be delivering on real relief for real Oklahoma families. So with that, I'll hand it over to Pro Tem Treat.
Thank you, Governor. This is a big day for Oklahoma. The governor mentioned we were only one of 13 states that taxed groceries. We were one of 5 states that taxed it at the maximum rate on sales tax. We're eliminating that state portion today, and that's a huge, huge deal. Governor, thank you for your leadership on this issue. You've long been an advocate for this. Speaker McCall, thank you for sending us the vehicle to get this done and doing the work. Members of both the Republican and Democratic Party, thank you for the hard work of making sure that we could do this. It was a big, big day when you have all but 2 people vote for something on the Senate floor of this magnitude. It's a huge day for Oklahomans. It's the tax that will impact more Oklahomans than any other tax we could potentially address. So I'm excited to be here. This has been a long time coming, and I'm excited that we were able to deliver on this promise. Speaker McCall, you're up next.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Well, let me just echo, everybody in this room knows I'm excited to see us here today. This is monumental. It took a lot of work. First of all, I have to commend the members of the House of Representatives, my colleagues there, their perseverance on this over multiple sessions. Thank you for your dedication to this. And as the Pro Tem and the Governor have pointed out, this is going to help all citizens in the state of Oklahoma. And I think even regardless of a political party, that's what we're here to do. And so this is exciting, not only that we're eliminating the state's portion on the grocery tax that affects every constituent that we have in the state of Oklahoma, but it's such a bold and big accomplishment. As the governor mentioned, this is a really big tax to eliminate. I'm thankful that our economy is in the position that it is, being predicted to be the 5th best performing economy this year. We can do these things and to help people. And we know that that revenue is going to come right back to the state because we are providing inflation relief to the people through this mechanism. And what's going to help them do is combat the inflation that they're experiencing. We know that they're still going to spend those dollars to help their families. And I'm excited not only for today for this bill, but for the opportunities that we have the rest of this session to talk about other ways to help the people of the state of Oklahoma. I want to thank the governor of the state for his perseverance on this issue as well. I always have to, always want to commend my friend and colleague and the Senate leader, President Pro Tem Greg Treat, for his leadership on this as well. Not just on this, but on everything. I want to recognize and say thank you to my colleague on the other side of the aisle in the House of Representatives, Leader Cindy Munson, and to my classmate, Minority Leader Senator Kay Floyd, for their work on this too. This truly is, I think, a win for everybody in the state of Oklahoma today. I would also we come here to do bold things. I will tell you, every session that we come back in February through May, and this being my last one, it's extra special. What you want to do, you don't want to waste the people's time. You don't want to waste your time. While you're here, you want to get big things done. This is a really big thing for the state of Oklahoma, because it's a big thing for the people of the state of Oklahoma. So thank you very much. And it's my pleasure now to introduce and call to the podium my colleague in the House of Representatives, Minority Leader Cindy Munson.
Good morning. It's not every day that we get invited to press conferences like this, so we're going to celebrate today.
Just vote with me more and you'll be here, okay?
We'll see about that, and I'm sure that'll be a fun photo that we see all over the media later today. I will say, though, I do want to thank you, Governor Stitt, for making this a priority. I think this, in the 2022 State of the State, this was the issue you mentioned. You got all of us standing up. So thank you for your leadership on this. But I do want to elevate the importance of the bipartisanship that has happened over the last several years, but especially House Democrats. There have been leaders that have come before me who have made eliminating the state sales tax on groceries a priority for many, many years. I want to applaud Leader Emily Virgin, who is my predecessor, who held an interim study in the House of Representatives just a few years ago, really getting serious discussion around this issue. So it's always been a priority, will continue to be a priority for House Democrats. Number one, to protect our revenue base. We've got to make sure we have revenue coming into the state so we can make sure critical services that are so important to Oklahomans are taken care of. But we also know that Oklahomans all across the state are suffering when it comes to inflation costs and high costs of basic necessities like their groceries. And so we have prioritized this issue. And so we're so happy today to join our colleagues across the aisle and Governor Stitt to celebrate what we already knew would help so many working Oklahomans. And we'll continue our efforts in making sure that any tax relief we provide helps those who need it the most. So thank you for being here today. And thank you for your leadership too. Speaker McCall, Pro Tem Treat. Appreciate it.
Good afternoon. Senate Leader Kay Floyd, I am honored to be here, Governor. The Senate Democrats have supported tax reform for years now, and it's gratifying to see a bipartisan effort start with something so large and so important to the state. with the grocery tax elimination. We are going to continue to try bipartisan effort and continue to look at tax relief, not only with the income tax, but all the tax situations that we have in the state. Reform is critical. We can't just pick and choose. We need to look at the tax system that we have in the state with a holistic view and start reform and bipartisan, hopefully, just like we did with this. So we're very pleased to have been a part of this. We want to thank the governor again and leadership. Charles, and thank you for the upgrade, sir. Sorry, Kurt.
Okay, thank you so much. Let me come over here and sign this. Okay, let's open it up for a few questions back to the podium from all our guests here. Okay, you've got the leadership of the House and the Senate from both parties, and so we'll just open it up to a few questions.
Yeah, thank you. Since the House had passed this last session, the streamlined sales tax agreement, council had come together and changed the definition of some groceries. And so we were just bringing that in congruence with the current definition that they passed in November. It was just a true cleanup.
Easy now.
Yeah, if it's hot and you can eat it right when you leave the store, it's prepared food. And so if you go in there and they have put the ingredients together, they have warmed it up and serve it to you that you can eat, almost like an on-premise tax on alcohol, it will be charged the full tax. If you have to go prepare it at home, then you'll get sales tax relief on the state portion.
This is a question for all three. Are income taxes next?
Come on, Greg.
Listen, we think we need to put Oklahoma on a path to zero. Like I've said always, when you have excess revenue, what are you going to do with that excess revenue? We're going to modestly grow government. We have to fund core services, and I appreciate what Cindy Munson said, that we would never put Oklahoma in a bad situation. We know we have core services. We know we have roads and bridges, and we have infrastructure, but we need limited government. We don't need to continue just to grow government to meet whatever revenue you have. And so when we have excess revenue, 100%. It should be automatic that we put some kind of growth in government in there to limit it at 3% or CPI index or whatever we want. And then the rest of it would be just gradually start giving tax cuts back to Oklahomans. And so I think over the next 10 years, and if we keep growing in the trajectory that we are, maybe we can do it quicker. Maybe we can do it in 5 years. But if we don't keep up with the states around us, we will get left behind. Iowa, Nebraska, Arkansas, all these other states are starting to look at that, and Oklahoma has been on a path to zero since the 90s. We used to be at a 7% income tax rate, and we've slowly cut it down, and we're at 4.75%. And so a quarter of a point is very reasonable, or a path to zero next year when we come in here and we have excess revenue. Then how are we going to give that back to the Oklahomans to continue the momentum? And something the speaker said I think is very important is this money doesn't, maybe it was at the pro tem or the speaker, I can't remember. The money doesn't disappear. It just stays in Oklahomans' pockets. So it will be spent in the economy. Every time we've reduced taxes, we've actually seen revenue go up. You guys remember, I love my charts in here. I don't know where my chart is, but every time we've cut taxes, revenue is increased. And I think we'll see no difference here because now Oklahomans will have more money to go to the sporting goods store or go to the bicycle store or take their family on a vacation or maybe stay in one of our hotels around our state or our parks. And so the money doesn't disappear. It just doesn't get washed through the government. It stays in Oklahoma's pockets.
Said, basically, they're not going to pay taxes.
Well, thank you. You know, we took a very measured approach on the Senate side of wanting to see what the February 15th numbers from the Board of Equalization were. And then we did the maximum tax relief we thought we could do by delivering on the grocery sales tax. Today's the day to celebrate passage of the elimination of the state portion of the grocery sales tax. We'll have future days to talk, but what I said, I meant. That we went to what we think is the maximum we could do this year and delivered it early. As you know, we have created a new transparent budget process in the Senate. The reason the date was important for us to get that done last week and delivered to the governor was so we can have a true budgeting process. If we didn't know how much money we were going to have to allocate in recurring and one-time monies, we couldn't have the transparent budget process that Oklahomans need and demand. And so that's the reason you saw me push my foot on the accelerator after February 15th. So we can have in the Senate the most transparent budget process in the United States of America. And we had to do that by knowing what our revenues truly were before we entered that budget process.
What economic conditions have to be in place for the state for you to be comfortable with an income tax?
Yeah, so we have our final numbers for the Board of Equalization. We know what we have to allocate this year. We were pleasantly surprised from December to February. We actually saw a modest increase. Now, part of that was because Service Oklahoma wasn't included in the December numbers. Inadvertently left out about $90 million. And then there was some forecast on sales tax growth in there, and then also an increase in GPT on oil and gas, even though the price is down. We live with the numbers out of the Board of Equalization. We have faith in the process and the people who make those decisions, and we use that to make the best decision on this tax relief.
Last question. Can you just reiterate when Oklahomans will start seeing this relief?
90 days from sine die. So whenever we sine die, we need to get out of the building as quick as we can so Oklahomans can have the most relief they can have.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm so sad this is your last session. Greatly appreciate it.
Thank you. Hey man, how's it going? Good to see you. I didn't see you at CPAC this year.
No, I didn't.
No.
Washington, D.C.
Oh,
yeah.
Hotel, hotels up this year. So,
Hopefully they have it tomorrow.
yeah. Good to see you.
Thank you very much.